So when I travel and I come into people's lives and I affect them vibrationally through love and peace and they connect to me, I want to move away from them and then have them be okay on their own. Do you understand what
We
I'm doing?
do.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, so I come in and I'm this great light and this source and people can learn and come from me. And then I want to leave them in peace, not leave them in wanting more. So how can I do that?
Well, first of all, everyone always wants more. That's a good thing. That's
Okay.
a good thing that they're reaching for more. And it's even a good thing that they want more from you. Does it feel to you like that they are depending on you?
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
So, like their ability to focus is enhanced when you are there, but then their ability to focus is diminished when you are not there?
Yes, and I don't know if I feel that, if I'm projecting that on them, or if that's how they are feeling.
Some of all of that. Part of it is that they feel better when you're there and feel diminished when you're not, to a certain degree. But as you observe it, then you become the perpetuator of that.
Oh.
So what would it feel like to you if you were able to sort of ignite something within someone that would be more long-lasting? What's the emotion?
Oh, that'd be fantastic. This is very uplifting. Like it would take it off of me uplifting, fantastic.
So that was the telling word. You're feeling responsible to something that you can't control. And that's what's bothering you about it. It feels to you like they're not paying attention, or they're not trying, or they're not applying. But the fact that it's getting you down isn't about what they're doing, it's about what you're doing. So let us just ask you a few questions. Okay. Do you believe that once you help someone establish a vibration, we've been doing that a lot here today, and we know for sure that just as a result of listening in, most people have been listening in and up to speed. It's quite exhilarating to realize that even when we move into a new place where thought has not been before, that those of you who are participating here for the most part go right along with it. That's an intoxicating feeling. And we know for sure that your vibration has been held steady long enough that there will be manifestations that will occur that you will be able to consciously connect. So do you think that you're doing that with those that you're interacting with? Are you helping them to understand that together you are establishing a new vibration co-creatively, and that once that vibration occurs within them, that it will cause a grid filling in, so to speak, or a manifestation that they will be able to recognize as the result of the work that you've done together? Have you actually spoken that bridge?
Yes.
And are you getting feedback from people that they are having that experience?
Yes.
So what more do you want? You see, most people would rather watch television than sit and just conjure images, because it's easier to observe than it is to create. Mm-hmm. Until you get to the place that you're really good at creating. And then it becomes really sort of annoying what others create and present to you. In other words, you're a little bit like their inner beings in that you've already achieved acknowledgement of their potential. And then when you notice that they're not quite yet living up to it, it causes a little discord in your vibration. But you just have to sort of be who you are and express as best you can, and then free them to their own discoveries. Empowerment of another, is there anything better than that?
No.
Helping someone to align with their true power, is there anything better than that?
No. So I can create people so that I can give them all the tools, and they feel like they're out on their own and they're doing really well and they're coming back, and that they can build on themselves, but they're coming back to me kind of for the same things. It's almost like, why aren't you getting it or moving forward?
All right, so what they're demonstrating to you is that they've got a grid going on that they haven't shifted. So when someone is presenting to you the same grid over and over and over and over and over again, do you have the ability to see something other than that? That's the question. Are you engaging with them on the terms of their grid, or are they engaging with you on the terms of your grid?
Their grid, probably. I feel like it's on their terms.
Yeah. So that's what's out of whack about this.
Okay.
In other words, you're letting them control the vibration around them. Now, as an uplifter, When we say to you, you cannot create in someone else's reality, it sounds a little bit like we're trying to get you to create in their reality. What we want you to do is to exercise your ability to know who they really are over and above what they are demonstrating in that moment. If you can get a grid going before you even begin to engage, you have a better probability of engaging with them from the core of who they are. But let's say that that happens and you have some really good discussions and you can feel that they're exhilarated and they like the idea of personal empowerment, and then off they go. Now your work is to envision them understanding it. Whatever grid is dominant in a rendezvousing moment will most likely win over the moment and be dominant.
Yes.
So the time to do the grid work is not in the middle of the momentum of the grid filling in. Did you get that? Because you got a grid going on and so do they, and somehow you kick into place with it, and now you've got this grid going on and it's filling in, it's filling in, it's filling in, and that's not the time to do the grid work. And you know that any other thing doesn't work either. It's the time to acknowledge that you want to do grid work at a time when the red mist has subsided a little bit. But this is not the time for action. If you're having an experience with someone and it's not going the way you want it to, and you continue the conversation, do you know what you're doing to the grid? You're just shoring up a grid, and you're making sure that that's going to be the basis of the relationship that you have with that person until one of you does something different with your grid. Doesn't that make sense to you?
Yes.
And so the best thing to do is to just walk away from it and recognize that this is not the time to do anything about it. And then do your grid work, because if you don't do some grid work, next time you rendezvous, it will be on the same basis, because your vibration about every subject in the world, every person in the world, every subject in the world is right where you last left it, you see.
Yes.
It doesn't take much to change momentum. Just don't try to change it in the middle of the momentum.
Makes sense. Okay, perfect.
Don't you like that? Do you know the reason that you go to sleep at night? We love you so much. Is to stop the momentum. That's what slumber is about. It stops the momentum. Because while you sleep, you stop the spewing. And when you stop the spewing, the grids kind of all just find their place. And when you awaken, you could start with a grid. You could meditate. You could get a really good grid going. You could appreciate. You could get a really good grid going. You could make lists of positive aspects. You could get a really good grid going. You could get some really good grids going, and your day will play out depending upon the grid you've got going. Or you could just sort of move into your day, and you could let the first thing that you observe set the tone of your grid. It will come, it will be active, and the momentum is there. You call it off on the wrong foot or getting out on the wrong side of the bed. We call it lazy grid. Lazy grid. Helpful?
Yes. Thank you.
Very good.